You are standing at the mouth of a cave in the Levant, 120,000 years ago. The sun is going down. Someone you knew is lying on the ground, and for the first time in your life, leaving them where they fell does not feel like an option. You have fire. You have tools. You have a camp that works, when it works. But the body is still there. Still warm, for now. Still recognizable. And the scavengers will come tonight whether you are ready or not. Here is the paradox. You are smart enough to survive, but not yet smart enough to pretend this changes nothing. For most of human history, measured in millions of years, nobody did what you are about to do. And the answer to why we started is stranger than grief alone. Because the problem is worse than a dead friend. A corpse is a billboard. It tells every predator within smelling range that your camp is wounded, distracted, and full of meat that no longer fights back. Bears, hyenas, other people. The smell carries. So the practical move is obvious. Drag the body away, scatter the bones, move on by morning. Many groups did exactly that for ages. And yet at sites from Shanidar Cave in Iraq to Kafse in Israel, something different keeps showing up in the dirt. Bodies placed deliberately, arms folded, sometimes with red ochre rubbed into the bone. Archaeologists have argued for decades over every single one. Was Shanidar 4 really buried with flowers, or did pollen blow in from bees? Was that pit at Kafse a grave, or just a convenient hole? The fights matter because burial is the line between disposal and meaning. So why did we cross it? It wasn't one reason. It was several small pressures stacking until burial became the obvious move. Here's the thing most people never consider. Burying the dead doesn't require believing in an afterlife. It only requires noticing that a person is not coming back, and that the living still need a place to stand. At Kafse, roughly 100,000 years ago, as many as 15 early Homo sapiens were placed in a cave with ochre-stained tools nearby. Not a random scatter, a pattern. Someone returned to that cave across generations, burying again and again in a place that mattered. The principle is simple. You mark where the dead are so the living know where to come back. But marking alone wasn't enough. Here's the second layer. Caves were assets, shelter, water, memory. When Neanderthals and early modern humans overlapped in the Levant around 120,000 years ago, both species began burying their dead in and near the same kinds of places. Researchers like Omri Barzilai and Ella Bean suggest something unsettlingly practical. A burial at the mouth of a cave functions like a deed. It says, "We were here. We belong here. Our dead are under this stone." In a world without fences, corpses may have been boundary markers as much as mourners' gestures. Territory written in bone. That explains the placement. It doesn't explain the care. At Ain Kashish in Israel, a Neanderthal was buried on an open plain, not in a cave. Someone dug. Someone laid the body. Someone covered it. That is not scavenger management. That is effort spent on someone who will never repay it. Which brings us to the third layer, the one that makes burial uniquely human. After you die, you can still exist in the minds of the people who loved you. Mourning is not automatic. It has to be cultivated. Burial is one way cultures turn private grief into a shared script. This is how we say goodbye. This is where we return. The Middle Paleolithic began around 250,000 years ago, but undisputed burials don't appear until halfway through. About 120,000 years ago. Not at the dawn of humanity, at a threshold. Before, bodies were problems to remove. After, certain places became places of the dead, and the living built their world around that distinction. Then something even stranger happened. Around 50,000 years ago, Neanderthals vanished from the Levant, and for tens of thousands of years, formal burials largely vanished with them. Homo sapiens didn't pick the practice back up until the Natufian period, roughly 15,000 years ago. As if burial had been tied not only to grief, but to competition, to the pressure of sharing a landscape with someone else who also buried their dead. Here's what no one talks about when they romanticize ancient graves. Every burial is also a claim. Every marked grave tells the living where they belong, and where they do not. We invented a ritual that comforts the bereaved and draws borders in the same breath. We didn't start burying our dead because we became spiritual. We started because the dead would not stop being social, even after they stopped breathing. If you want more stories that make the familiar world feel strange again, subscribe. We thought burial was how we honored the ones we lost. It turns out, it may also be how we told the world, and each other, that this place was ours.